keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we're unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We'll be joined by the Justin McGuire in just a brief moment. Talk some NFL quickly. The New York Giants, Dak Prescott, terrible incident. What's going to happen with that? They're saying they're going to still, he's the future. He's going to get paid. We'll see what happens, how much though. And then we'll talk the best team in the AFC North. Is it the Browns, the Steelers, or the Ravens? But let's get into the start of how we're going to open this. This year has shown nothing but tragedy for many and many of Americans and many of people around the world. You can also relate this to my LA Lakers. There's been a lot of tragedy, not with just this year, but since 2010, 2011, the Lakers organization has been nothing but a tragedy, has been a dark cloud over them. 2 years ago, they decided to go get a man named LeBron James. Now, LeBron had his hands worked out for him because this franchise was in a bad place. Couldn't get any big-time free agents. Couldn't find the right head coach. Draft picks were busting out.
Well, they're all not on the team no more, so they never panned out.
Because of the Anthony Davis. But this team was so young, always said all talented, but there was never you can never attract a huge star. The Lakers got a couple years ago with LeBron James. And Joseph, if you want to come in and join us and talk about this, I'm very happy because this year has been nothing but bad negativity and just pure sadness for much of the world. And if I could think of anything about this Lakers team, it's tragedy turned triumph because of just everything that's circulated with this team this year, losing the death of Kobe early in this year, and then just dealing with everything going on. You got to think about how this season restarts. They're the first professional team, and really, they were the start of everything with all of this COVID-19 back in March with Rudy Gobert's incident. So you got to think that the NBA, we didn't think the NBA might not be coming back. Also, they did something that we never thought would happen. They boycotted a game because of their issues that they had going around in the country. Understandable. Now they get almost – it's like a third restart. They had to start restarting all over again. But now you see the Lakers, they're on top of the world, and it's just so satisfying to see finally my team.
Well, that and their whole team didn't come back when COVID
That's
came
true.
back.
Losing Avery Bradley was out was a big loss, and we thought, is this Laker team going to struggle? Well, they had on paper look like a tough road ahead, playing against a very good Blazers team, then playing the Rockets, who have been successful over the past couple of years, and then we thought maybe the Clippers. That was going to be a tough one. And then maybe even the Bucks in the Eastern Conference. But it ends up being a completely different road to a championship. But I knew this team was the best team all year. They had the best player in the world. And LeBron continuously shows why he's the best player in the world, once again, with his pure dominance throughout this playoffs and in the finals.
Of course, Joe. That's how he looks at it. I look at it as another easy win for LeBron James. Another easy win. Got to play a team that wasn't fully healthy. The loss of Gordon Dragic and Bam Adebayo, especially in Game 1, it turned the whole series around. If those guys are healthy, they're playing Game 7. They're playing Game 7. This is not a 6-game set. This is a 7-game set, and Miami probably wins, like you and me had predicted beforehand. I'll give credit where credit due. LeBron James is still the best player in basketball. I mean, just look at his numbers. 37 years old, put up a triple-double in Game 6, had a triple-double, I believe in Game 4 was when Jimmy Butler had triple-double.
Jimmy Butler, yeah.
It speaks volume of how good LeBron is, but it's just funny because you think he wins a championship, the Heat weren't really healthy. Okay, when you said it, you wanted the Heat to be healthy because you didn't want to hear any excuses from outside.
Well, look.
You're like,
it is what it is.
Listen, LeBron James won his other title because Draymond Green got suspended.
It's going to happen.
And if he's not suspended and Andrew Bogut doesn't get hurt and Andre Iguodala doesn't have back spasms, that 72-win team from Golden State stays healthy, probably wins that series. And that series 0-5. And LeBron James is not having 2 more championships on his.
I mean, I'm happy with the way this year has been for all my sports teams, with the Yankees losing on Friday night. It's just very satisfying, especially for the win for Kobe. And I know that people are going to say it. It's fine. It's what people say about all the time with LeBron and comparing it with Jordan in general. no matter what, LeBron, we talked about this early in the postseason when they lost game 1 to the Blazers. We said LeBron's legacy is cemented for good. It doesn't matter what he was going to do. He was going to be, without question, no matter what, he just increased it with a win. But no matter what, he will end up being a top 2 or 3 player ever to play this game. And he just cemented it again with another huge accomplishment, winning his 4th championship plus his 4th Finals MVP. Joe, how do you think? And you watched a lot of the finals, so what did you have to say about it?
So here's my only beef with everything. You look around the NBA, and I mean, literally over the last 10, 12 years, you need like superstars on your team. That's become the formula, right? Who wants to play with LeBron? Who wants to play with Harden? That's all this ends up being. So the Lakers are supposed to win the finals this year. They should have won the finals. There's no reason they wouldn't have won the finals with the team that they had.
I believe.
Sure. Look, but there's a reason in December. There's a reason in December why you said Lakers and Heat, Trevor. And maybe it's because you just know things none of us do. Or you looked at the 2 teams who literally were the 2 best teams in each conference. It would just make sense.
With both of those teams.
I remember there you go. Questioning the Bucks having not a second star. You said Giannis. You didn't say he's a star. But is Middleton a star? And not really. We don't.
I never trusted Bucks. I never trusted with the Clippers.
You said and the Celtics maybe, but they didn't have the Celtics.
Size. And I also did say that the Lakers would beat the Heat in 6 games for your information as well, and they did. But all I'm trying to say is that I just felt comfortable with these 2 teams, and I'm not taking away anything from the Heat. I just want to get this out there. Jimmy Butler, I don't care what anybody says, is a superstar. I would take him over a James Harden. I don't care. From what I saw in this postseason with him, for what I saw this season, and for anybody who wants to keep saying that he was the problem in Minnesota, Chicago, and Philly, there's a reason why those two there was a reason why 2 of those teams are at the bottom of the food chain, and there's another team that's so talented but can't get their head out of their asses because of their egos, and that's why a guy like Jimmy Butler is sitting pretty in Miami, just went to his first finals, showed out to the world why he's a superstar in this game and one of the best, if not the best 2-guard in the game. He really showed it, and those teams are still struggling to find a superstar that has the right mentality, the right attitude to win. And guess what? For anybody that wanted to bash Jimmy Butler, you got nothing to say because that man literally played his heart out and went toe-to-toe with not many people.
Jimmy Butler has always been a problem.
But he went toe-to-toe.
That's what happens when superstars play for bad teams. And the way I'll use this example is Randy Moss in Oakland. Remember, he was supposed to, he had lost it. No. Remember, he was troubling in Oakland. And then miraculously, he goes to the New England Patriots, and everything is much better. You ever think that superstars are antagonistic guys and troublemakers when they're on a bad team because they're looking for a way out?
Randy Moss was just playing up talent, just more talented than anybody else. It's just attitude.
I know, but on a bad team, Jimmy was not a problem. Jimmy Butler was a troublemaker. Jimmy Butler was trouble in Chicago. Yes, he was.
No, he wasn't.
He had issues. He had issues in Chicago
because they had a losing mentality in the world.
He had issues in Minnesota.
Yep.
And he had issues
because they all have losing mentalities. They're loser mentalities. That's why Chicago sucks. That's why Minnesota sucks.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
That's why Philadelphia could be in a position.
Can I interrupt?
Hold on. There could be in a position to win a championship.
Okay, but LeBron went to Cleveland, and they had a losing mentality. You know what? He was able to resurrect them. LeBron went to the Heat, who were down, resurrected.
First of all, you're trying to compare Jimmy Butler to LeBron.
LeBron went to the Lakers, who were god-awful. They were the New York Knicks for the past 10 years.
That's a bad comparison.
No, it's not a bad comparison. LeBron James didn't.
Jimmy Butler was a nobody and worked to his way to get to a superstar. LeBron James, for God's sakes, you all say it all the time. He came in with the pronounced name, the King. So don't give me this. Oh well, LeBron had to do this.
I'm not knocking Jimmy Butler. I just said credit is credit due. The man played his cojones off.
He played his ass off, and that Heat team is not going anywhere. And that's going to be an interesting destination for years to come because of what they do. They have a winning mentality, winning attitude.
Talked about going down to Miami play with Jimmy. That was one of the other teams that were mentioned other than Golden State with a trade to get Giannis over there.
Joe, for this question,
can I finish on this though? I think the Lakers don't win the championship without COVID. And what I mean by that is I think the best thing that ever happened for them was COVID because LeBron James, that's in his 17th year of his season, was able to get 3 months of rest. Imagine in the middle of the season you get through. Players look for a couple days off during All-Star break or look for a bye week in the NFL. Imagine having 3 months to recoup your body at 7. Some of the younger guys to kind of get your body back into shape. You get worn down. Listen, Colin Cowherd says all the time, 82 games, but here's the thing. They play in Chicago. Then they're on a plane at 11 o'clock. Then they're flying to Miami. They go to sleep at 5 o'clock in the morning. Then they wake up at noon. Then they have to get practice. Then they go back home and take a nap and eat some food. Then they play a game. Then they're on the flight the next day. It's not like baseball where you're in a city for 3 or 4 weeks, or in football you fly out 2 nights before and then you come home and you relax for the next 5 days. You're on the road constantly.
I'm just very happy.
So
I think it's very satisfied.
And it speaks volume to the Lakers, though, for them able to come together. Because they were the best team playing through the
I woke up feeling like a champion yesterday, Joe, because that's how I felt. Finally, it felt good to be back on top with the Lakers winning their 17th championship. Yeah. Don't look at me like that. I'll give you a smack. I swear to God.
Hey,
to anybody that wants
Rob and Genie Bus to come through.
Shout out to the entire franchise. And to answer the question, you're going to still, no matter what LeBron James does, you're going to have people that are going to say that Jordan's still the great. It's a debate. It's an ongoing debate. I saw that. It's an ongoing debate that's going to go on forever and ever, and that's how it's going to be.
Joe, do you think you put LeBron James now as the best player?
You're going to have people that say Jordan. You're going to have people that say LeBron. It's just how it's going to be. It's just like with people with Montana and Brady.
Do you think LeBron James has
inches way closer as the greatest of all time?
He's the second best player of all time. No doubt about it.
But you'll never put him as the greatest.
Let him finish his career. Finish your career, and then I'll evaluate it. As of right now, for me, he's easily the second greatest player of all time. And the only reason I say that comfortably is I watched Michael Jordan play nearly his entire career, and I saw what he did, and I saw the way he dominated championships. And it's a little bit different with LeBron, because LeBron needs help. No matter who it is, he needs someone to help him.
Jordan didn't win anything without Pippen. They were using saying as Pippen.
Fair enough, but listen, you know what? You guys know how I feel about Scottie Pippen. I think Scottie Pippen is definitely overhyped. Look,
Rodman, Phil Jackson, Kukoc.
That was when you look at all the role players. You look at guys like Paxson, just role players, guys who could hit threes. I mean, dude, they always found the right pieces to go along with Michael Jordan. And look, any team, that's what you need. You need a supporting cast around you. I just don't like the fact that these superstars rely so heavily on another superstar. Had to get Anthony Davis here. Couldn't do it without him. That's the part about this that I struggle with. And I understand the comparison to Pippen, but if it wasn't Pippen, it would have just been somebody else. Jordan just needed somebody else. Jordan could make it work with Horace Grant and Rodman and Cartwright and whoever he needed to. And he made everybody around him greater. And my concern is, you look at the Lakers of last season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they weren't good. Yeah, they weren't good with LeBron and all those rookie kids. And then that's how the NBA is going. That's how it's going to.
Correct. Right. That's how the NBA is going. So
in that way,
it's going to be hard to completely evaluate LeBron James's entire career. Putting it like this, he's going to finish no worse than second all time.
Yeah, because statistically, he's going to be 1, 2, or 3 in almost every category. So, listen, and that's going to be the model going forward, that every superstar you talk about is going to have a Batman and Robin. Let's be honest.
It's always going to be like that.
Because we talk about the Bucks and we say, does Giannis have a Robin? And he doesn't have a Robin. So the question is, will he leave to go join a Robin, or will he be someone's Robin?
With the Warriors, the Lakers, it's been with Shaq and Kobe.
Houston.
Even when LeBron won with Cleveland, you had Kyrie.
Sixers.
Colin made a quick point. I want to just get it quickly, and then I'm moving on to the NFL. Colin made a point that he never needed anybody. He had Kyrie in Cleveland. He had Dwayne Wade in Miami, and now he had AD. He's always needed a superstar, as the way the NBA has shown that this is the way the game is played now. You need another superstar.
Can I say one thing?
Even come close? Maybe
the only team you can't name with a superstar to win a championship in the last 30 years is the Detroit Pistons of 2004.
Yeah, that's it.
Because everything. Kobe needed Shaq, and Shaq needed Kobe. Kobe needed Gasol, Tim Duncan, and David Robinson. Okay, and those are Hall of Famers. Maybe you don't want to put Tony Parker in there, but they're close. Listen, Magic needed Kareem and Worthy, Bird had Parrish and McHale and Dennis Johnson. You know what I mean? Jerry West had Will Chamberlain. Cousy had Bill Russell. Yeah. And they had great coaches. Right. You go back to basketball, there's always been a tandem that has dominated. Yeah. Even Moses Malone and Dr.
It's the way those tandems came about back in the day. Right? I mean, the Lakers had Kareem and Worthy, and then they got Magic. They drafted Magic and they put him in the lineup. And you're seeing an NBA that's more dominated by free agency and who you played AAU camp with, who you know from over the years, who you think would be a good complement piece to you. And you see these guys out there recruiting, and I actually like that. And I like the idea that buddies are reaching out to buddies. We're seeing that in baseball with Bauer and Cole right now. It seems to be, little Batman, all right, let's go win a championship together, dude. Why not? I understand that. But it's a little bit different now. So again, after it's all said and done, I'll further evaluate LeBron James. I feel like I'm one of those people really qualified to do it since I've watched both guys play. I've seen both guys win their championships at the heights of their career. I've seen the struggles of their career. So again, it's so, we do this with Pat Mahomes too sometimes. Is he a Hall of Famer? He's 26. Pump the brakes. Let's get to the end of the career. We'll evaluate everything. Again, for Mahomes, for LeBron, for a lot of these guys, it looks good.
Yeah,
but let's get there. Let's get to the end of their career before we start deciding who's what. I don't know that you could be the greatest of all time when the greatest of all time just happened so soon afterwards without blowing all of his numbers out of the water. You know what I mean? No, matching them or reaching them or tying them, like that's nice, but you gotta blow them out of the water to become the greatest of all time.
I'm happy that the Lakers are back on top, and Mamba, we did it for you. Finally, we got back that championship. We did it for the Mamba, so I'm happy. I'm satisfied. Lakers are champions. At least one of my teams wins this year. Thank God. I haven't seen a team win in a while.
That's got to feel really good. I don't know.
I was in tears. That's like. I was in tears to finally see my team win a championship. Let's close out with this. We're going to move on to the NFL. And one of the big news, because we're due to time constraints, we're going to close out with this part, is the Dak Prescott situation. This has been one of the most talked about topics going on throughout this entire offseason as well. And we've talked about it countless amount of times. We started doing it last year, probably almost 2 years ago, just starting. Dak Prescott. Is he ever going to get a long-term deal from the Dallas Cowboys? Is he the franchise quarterback? It was always the $150 million question, because that's what we always felt like. Where was Dak going to get paid? That was the amount of money that it seemed like he was around. It's just so tragic. Let me speak on this. I'm a Giant fan, but when I saw that on Sunday afternoon, late evening, I was in tears. I don't care how much I hate the Dallas Cowboys, how much I can't stand them. As a football player, that's me thinking as a competitor and a football player. When I saw Dak Prescott down and I saw his leg shattered and I saw him in that cart, and it was not a pretty sight. And seeing him in that cart, seeing those tears are more just because of an injury. It's more just because of his future as well. And you see that, and
I've seen that on a football
you can't hold out.
It's not a pleasant
sight. Only thing I could think of is just started crying, because that's me as a football player thinking, this is tragic. This is so sad to see. One of the guys that were playing really well in this league, throwing the ball, really is trying to get, and that was another thing. You saw Giant players, coaches, Jason Garrett, Colombo right there, former coach of Dak Prescott, all over right there, patting him on the back, giving him support. It's just a really tough scene overall, and it felt like a takeaway from a game where two bad teams were playing, but it was a really good game, back and forth action. And to see that, just tragic. Dak Prescott, what's going to happen with him? Is he going to get the big contract? Yeah, he says the future, but what does that mean actually?
Joe, I've seen this on the field. I seen this as a ref and as a player. I saw this as a player, a kid's wrist do this. And then I saw it as a referee about 2 years ago on a long pass. A kid caught the pass, and I saw him get tackled, and I heard the snap. And watched the kid's ankle. And it was funny because my responsibility is to kill the play first down on a long 40-yard bomb. I killed it so fast, and then I was like this. And then the kid started screaming. Like I saw it. I was like, oh, that's not good.
It just sucks.
When it happened in the game, I knew it. Even Tony Romo was like, "Oh, I hope that's a cramp." And at first you thought maybe he just twisted his ankle, but then when they show the thing and they show the replay, and it's like, "All right, that's it, man. You know that isn't good." Okay, I'll get right to the point of this. I made a comment on Twitter because Stephen A. Smith had a take and a bunch of other people had takes, and I said, "Listen, great player. This kid's outstanding. He was leading the league in passing, 4th all time right now at where he was on pace. He had 1,800 yards passing. I believe it was 1,856. With that being said, I said, great player, outstanding player. Their team right now is bad defensively, but what has he won? And they're like, well, he deserves the money. Well, here's the thing. I pointed out, tragic injury, but it wasn't like a contract wasn't offered to him. There was a contract offered. The biggest issue he had was the longevity of the contract. He wanted a shorter-term deal, more 4 years. They wanted 6 years. They wanted to extend his contract. No, 5 to 6. And even if you're right, Trev, at 5, it's still 1 more year than he wanted to. He wanted to get out in 4 years so that he could be a free agent still with a young and still pick up that another big 4 or 5 year contract. Because that's what he wanted to do. It's almost the Darrelle Revis. He was the best at it. Keep getting 1 year or 2 year deals for like $30 million. I also said here, he's still getting paid $31 million this year. If his career if he never plays again, he's got $31 million. He also makes $50 million in endorsements being the Dallas Cowboys, being for Yogurt, Okeem, and for Chunky Soup. So I don't want to hear that he hasn't made money. And he's not going to make money because all of us people would love to have a portion of that. Give me 1/10 of it, okay? Give me $1 million. If you can't live on it, I don't know what you're doing. Don't tell me it was $31 million. But I said, he should have accepted the contract because here's what you should have done. You know that every time you step on the football field, this crap could happen to you, and it's unfortunate. That's why football is the most dangerous game on the face of the earth. Okay, it's not hockey, it's football. But you should have pulled a Zeke then. You should have pulled a Zeke. I said you should have either sat out and said, guess what? Because I guarantee if Dak wasn't on the field for weeks 2 and 3. Jerry would have paid the money, whatever he needed to pay, because it would have. Can you imagine? Yeah. They would have looked worse on Dallas than not on Dak. By him playing, it's like Jerry Jones won. Well, I pushed it to the point. It's almost like you ain't gonna do it, and because he ain't gonna do it.
Dak, Joe, how when you saw it, how did you feel? I mean, we're all Giant fans, but you never want to see anything. I was in tears about it. It's just. You never want to see something like that. Yeah, Victor Cruz.
I think I told you guys I was at this game when Victor Cruz blew out the knee, and I'll never forget that. I was actually in a luxury. Huh?
You were in Philly for that?
I've been to the Link a few times to watch the Giants and the Eagles. I got a hookup in Philly. I sit in a luxury box. I meet cheerleaders. It's an amazing experience, but the Giants always put up like 110 yards of total offense and get their butts handed to them. So that's the frustrating part. But I was there when Victor Cruz got hurt. The guy whose box it was handed me his binoculars, and I remember he said to me, "You're not going to like this. Victor Cruz is crying." And I thought at first he was insulting Victor Cruz, and I looked through the binoculars and I saw what he meant. I mean, the guy was in agony. So my heart was broken for Dak Prescott, who also happens to be my fantasy football quarterback.
I thought about that. That's funny. When it happened, first thing I thought was, oh my God, that's Joe's quarterback. And a lot of people's fantasy.
Daniel Jones?
Yeah. I actually picked up Baker Mayfield, who was readily available, fortunately. But look, this is a horrible injury. I like what Logan Ryan said afterwards. I hope that Dak still gets his $500 million or whatever. But Teddy, you're right. He would have been smart to sit out. Why risk this? This was the worst case scenario. Well, actually, the worst case scenario was that your team was terrible and you were there, and then this happened. Yeah. This is like the trifecta of how, because if Andy Dalton was out there and the Cowboys were getting their butts handed to them, yes, Dak wouldn't have got hurt against the Giants. And you're right, Jerry would have backed the Brinks truck up to his house and been like, wait, how much do we need to get you back out on the field? We know how good this guy is. You've seen the fantasy numbers. First guy in NFL history with 3 straight 450-yard games. You don't really think of Dak as like that kind of quarterback, but he's got the skills.
Quarterbacks don't hold out. Quarterbacks don't hold out. So if he held out, the pressure would have been on Dallas, because here's the thing. They believe that Dak is good enough to win them a Super Bowl. So by him sitting home, their chances of winning a Super Bowl drastically go down.
And I remember that game. For me, the turning point of that game was, I remember we were having group chats. It was plain and simple. Dallas looked real good. Their best drive to me was when they were feeding 21 the ball, and the Giants had no answers of stopping them. And they went right down and scored. It was right after Dak got hurt, and they went right down and scored. And I was like, this is what Dallas is made for. This is when Dallas is at its best. And the boys were saying, oh, that was the turning point. No, that was the turning point of the game. They're talking about the penalties and stuff. That's what happens. This Cowboys team could change drastically now. I mean, they got Andy Dalton still, probably one of the better backups in the league right now. Let's see what the Dallas Cowboys offense is going to look like. You got 3 great weapons in that receiving core with Gallup, CD, and Amari. You got Zeke. How does this offense look now that Dak is gone for the year? It's just such a tragedy to see a player at his such a high level as well to go down like that.
He was having a career year.
To see him,
he was literally having a career year.
To see his, like, in a matter of seconds, everything changes. Just like that. That's how fast life can hit you. It's how fast everything could go from ultimate highness to the ultimate lowness. And that's what happened in Jerry World at about, 6:30 at night.
I just when I said the comment on Twitter, and people were like, one guy was like, I guess you don't watch enough games, bro. No, I watch enough Dallas games to see. They're on TV every friggin' week, okay? I know. And I wasn't knocking Dak. Dak's having a great season. But I also gave him a stat. The last 3 years, the leading passer team did not make the playoffs, okay? It's unfortunate their defense is god-awful, okay? They gave up 34 points to the Giants, and the Giants only scored 47 all season. And here's another thing. They had 2 touchdowns called back because the Giants are idiots.
I mean, we didn't even get to talk about the Giants today. I really wanted to just get to Dak.
Listen, the Giants played good. But you knew when they were up 17.
1-3 and out by the Giants all game. 1-3 and out. To me, that's progress.
But I do know one thing.
Also
when the Giants
how
were
bad
upset,
the Dallas defense is.
Yeah, and when the Giants
still, my major concern with the Giants was that they were going to make Dallas's defense look serviceable.
And they did.
And they definitely didn't. The Giants, if you look at the numbers, this is the best game that the Giants have had.
They ran the ball well. Devontae Freeman looked good. Gorman looked good. Daniel Jones played good. Darius Slayton had over 100 yards receiving.
Ingram played well.
What the thing was I noticed was when the Giants were up 17-3, I go, and we were talking about it at work in the room, I go, you know what's going to happen, right? Like you almost knew the inevitable was coming down the Giants, especially once that touchdown got taken away.
That's when I thought
on the fake field goal, or fake punt, I believe it was, where
when Dak got hurt, that's when I thought, okay, this is
but I was
taken.
But when Gates didn't go down. And it was so slight. All he had to do was just stand still, and he's moving. That's when they had the legal
75.
No, it was Gates 65. He was the left tackle. It was a legal motion, 5-yard penalty, and they brought it back, and he angled down. It was Gates.
They said
it was Gates. I know.
Well, look it up. It was 75.
I know, but it was the.
Well, Dave, you referees need to get it right then.
He was wrong.
Man, these referees.
65 Gates was because he had the body. Because it was the same thing that happened before. It was the same guy that had the problem earlier.
It's just like we'll talk about that because the Yankees. The Giants are. We'll talk about Lorenzo Carter is out for the year with ruptured Achilles, just added to an already decimated defense with injuries. So we'll talk about that on Friday. They might have. I mean, it's a winnable game this weekend. The Giants have a very winnable game this week against the Washington football team. Maybe we play. Yeah, of course. I'm always rooting for the Giants to win. I want to see them win. I don't want to see them go winless. I mean,
watch Alex Smith will throw for like 300 yards and run for a couple scores against the Giants.
Friday will be a big football show. We'll talk about the AFC North, a massive game in the AFC North. Who is the best team in the AFC North? The Browns, the Steelers, or the Ravens combined?
Can you believe you're saying that?
They're combined 12-2 right now. That is very impressive. We'll talk about the Giants. Can they get their first win for Joe Judge against the Washington football team who's dealing with quarterback issues? We'll talk about
Kyle Allen. If
you got Brady versus Rodgers, like I'm very excited for these games coming up. I know there's another game that I'm missing, but there's some big games this week, and we're going to talk about that all on Friday. A football Friday show. Is it Friday? You got any plans?
Quick question.
Are you out? Are you gone?
Maybe, but quick question.
Don't give me maybe. I need a yes or no.
What do we got for predictions for the Bills-Titans game tonight? Who you got, Joe? Bill or Titans?
You know he's going Josh Allen.
Go with my man Josh Allen. Yeah, I'm feeling it for sure.
I'm gonna go with the Bills, and they stay undefeated.
I just wonder how it'll affect the Titans having this amount of much time.
Could be
as they
very
have.
rusty.
Will they be rusty or will they be even fresher?
I gotta ask a serious question. Are you guys gonna both be around Friday? Or you guys all got plans? I know you guys are very busy men.
Why would you?
You guys are very busy men. I need to know. I'm ready to go for a nice football Friday show.
I'm free.
Okay, that's easy. Joe, maybe it'll be just me and you then.
Oh.
Yeah, look, he got excited. See, he's been waiting just for me and you. He wants the real keys, brother. I'm sorry, Ted. Joseph.
Yeah, don't listen to that nonsense. Don't listen to that crap.
Well, if you want to start getting picks right, start listening to me. Joseph.
There.
Justin Herbert's the real deal.
We'll talk about that as well on Friday. Justin Herbert looks to be man.
Drew Brees' career is over.
We'll talk about all that on Friday. Like I said, it's a big
We might have to reevaluate our Super Bowl picks.
We could come back to it. It's not at the halfway point.
Yeah.
We got a lot of football to talk about Friday. So, Joseph, thanks, buddy.
I will see you guys.
You got it, pal. Ladies and gentlemen, we got new hoodies coming out. If you want one, message us ASAP. They're going out this week. So if you want, let us know. Black or blue, any size you want, just let us know, please. ASAP as well. We're streaming on all social media platforms, including YouTube at Keys to the City. Hit like, subscribe, comment, and share. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are out.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.